Have you ever noticed how things just seem to get more expensive over time? What's really going on with the money in your wallet? Well, today we're going to break down one of the most important ideas in all of economics, inflation. Let's jump right in. Sound familiar? I bet you've heard your parents or grandparents say something just like this. It's that feeling, that the cash in your pocket just doesn't go as far as it used to. It's a feeling we all share. And believe it or not, it actually has a name. To really get our heads around this, let's use a simple and delicious example. We're going to call this the shrinking chocolate bar, and it's the perfect way to see what's happening to your money. Now look at this. The amount of money hasn't changed. It's still a $10 bill. But what it can buy has changed big time. Back in 2010, that $10 got you a whole 10 chocolate bars. Fast forward to 2025, and that very same bill only gets you 2. The money is the same, but its power, its purchasing power, has shrunk. And that whole process has a name: inflation. At its core, it's just the general increase in prices over time. And when prices go up, it means every single dollar you have buys a little bit less than it did before. It's exactly why your $10 buys fewer chocolate bars. So why should you care? Well, this isn't just some abstract economic theory. It hits you right where you live. Inflation is what drives up the price of your food, your gas, your clothes. It makes your monthly bills creep higher and higher. And, maybe most importantly, it quietly eats away at the value of your savings and your paycheck. Okay, so we know what inflation is. But why? Why does it even happen? What are the forces that are constantly pushing prices up? Let's look at the two main culprits. So the first cause is something economists call demand pull inflation. But really, it's just a fancy way of saying too much money chasing too few goods. Imagine a farmer's market where everyone suddenly wants to buy tomatoes, but there's only one crate left. What happens? The price shoots up because the demand is pulling it higher. Now, the other side of the coin is called cost push inflation. This is when it gets more expensive to actually make things in the first place. Maybe the cost of raw materials goes up, or shipping gets pricier. Well, companies aren't just going to eat those costs. They push them onto you, the customer, by raising the prices. Here's a perfect real-world example of that chain reaction. Let's say the price of diesel fuel spikes. Well, now it costs the farmer more to transport their vegetables to the distributor. The distributor, in turn, has to charge the grocery store more. And guess who's at the end of that chain? You are. The price of vegetables goes up at the store. With prices rising and our money buying less, it really sounds like inflation is the ultimate villain of our financial story, doesn't it? But here's the twist. It's actually a bit more complicated. Inflation, it turns out, can be a double-edged sword. See, when inflation is low and predictable, it can actually be a good thing. It nudges people to spend or invest their money instead of just hoarding it, which helps businesses grow and even create jobs. But, and this is a big but, when it gets too high, it's really damaging. It destroys your purchasing power, hits people on fixed incomes the hardest, and makes it almost impossible to save for the future. So what's the magic number? Well, most economists agree that a little bit of inflation, usually somewhere in the 2 to 4% range each year, is actually healthy. It's like the Goldilocks zone for an economy, not too hot and not too cold. All right, knowing all this is one thing, but the real question is, what can you actually do about it? How do you stop your hard-earned money from losing its value over time? Let's talk strategy. Okay, here's your inflation playbook. 4 key moves. First, invest wisely. You want to put your money in things that can grow faster than inflation, like stocks, funds, or real estate. Second, avoid holding tons of cash. Think of cash during inflation like a melting ice cube. Its value just slowly drips away. Third, get a handle on your expenses. A solid budget is your best friend when prices are rising. And finally, number 4, focus on growing your income. Whether it's learning a new skill or asking for that raise, you want your earning power to outrun rising costs. So for our last section, let's peek behind the curtain a little bit. How do we even know what the inflation rate is? How do economists and governments actually measure this stuff? They mainly use 2 big tools. The first is the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. Think of this as the price of a typical shopping basket for people like us: food, rent, gas, that sort of thing. The second is the WPI, or Wholesale Price Index. This tracks prices earlier in the supply chain, at the producer level. And that can give us a clue about where consumer prices might be headed next. Together, they give us a pretty good picture of the economy's health. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Understanding inflation is really about understanding how time itself affects your money. The better you get that, the smarter the financial decisions you're going to make. And I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. You work incredibly hard for your money. The real question is your money working just as hard for you? Thanks for tuning in.